Welcome, Loreseekers, to episode 4 of the lower levels. Today we're going to cover The Mandalorian of the finale. So if you have not watched that, then I'd go back and watch it before you watch this podcast, because we're going to be spoiling the heck out of it. Let's get right into this. Let's start with the quote of the podcast. But if a thing is humanly possible, consider it to be within your reach. That was by Marcus Aurelius. So basically, if you can dream it, you can do it. It can be done, right? As long as it's humanly possible and you can dream that, it can be done. So don't let people be holding you back. There's a thing before the 4-minute mile was broken. Everybody thought it was impossible. I was like, no one could ever. Everyone was like, no one could ever run faster than a 4-minute mile. No one can do it. And then the record was broken. And then I don't remember the exact timeline, but after someone broke the record for the 4-minute mile, they ran it like 3:58 or something. It got broke like multiple times that year, because once someone figured out that, oh, it actually can be done, it was just a mental barrier. That's all it was. So don't let people hold you back from your dreams. Get after it. Now let's hop back into the galaxy far, far away. The episode overall, I really enjoyed it. It made you, before the episode started, you were thinking, everybody was theorizing, who's the spy, who's going to die, who's going to be a cameo, and we didn't get any cameos. No one died, except for background characters, and a villain. And there was no spy, right? There's no spy. So we're going to hop right into that one whenever we get to... whenever you figure out she's obviously not a spy. And I'm not going to say I told you so, but the armor is Team Loreseeker, The opening I thought was rocky. So they care about Grogu and they don't let him do adult things when he's with the group. And they just allow him to go into the base to save Din. I don't know if there was a scene there and he got cut. I picture him saying no to Bo-Katan, and then she's eventually like, just go, fine, just go, like whatever. But then I also can't see her doing that. Like she's going to allow Grogu to go back into the base to save Din. I thought that was weird. I really did. Din really didn't need help too much. I feel like he could have beat them eventually. The two, I'm calling them. Let's just call them Imperial Beskar warriors. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But he beat them both with his hands tied, right? And Grogu comes in and he saves the day. That was my only complaint for the episode, and that was literally in the first 5 minutes. So we get this out of the way, and we're golden. Axe finally makes his report back to Bo. He's like, I'm in the upper atmosphere. I'm almost back, and she says, they're launching an assault, an ambush on the capital ship, and Axe Woves, being a badass that he is, he gets back to the ships. He tells all the Mandalorians to get to the drop ships, the gauntlets. We're gonna launch an attack on these Imperial dudes, and I'm gonna make the ultimate sacrifice. At least that's what it feels like. He's willing to go down with the ship. He's the captain of the ship. He's what he's gonna do. And then we figure out that R5 is actually a part of this fleet, and he's on the surface, and he starts helping Din. He gets the schematics, has a little run in with the mouse droids, which I didn't mind it. I thought it was funny. And he's able to lead Din and Grogu throughout the base and get him to Moff Gideon's throne room, or whatever you want to call it, his command center, which is guarded by the Phantom Menace red shields, right? And I thought that was really cool. It finally, one of my other complaints for this season, I love this season, but one of my biggest complaints was Din always needed saving. Din got captured, Bo-Katan saves him. Din goes into the living waters, Bo-Katan saves him. It's like, Din, he's our main character. He's not incompetent. He's a very good warrior, and we're not seeing that. So not only in this episode do we see that, we actually get the Din of old. So he walks down this catwalk, and he systematically takes out, I believe it's 8 Imperial Beskar warriors, and just mops the floor with them. Like, it's not even close. Like, he just destroys them. Like, they didn't stand a chance. And then we get to the command center, and Moff Gideon presents himself with his armor, his Dark Trooper armor that he has, and they start fighting. And at the same time, the Praetorian Guards make an appearance, and Grogu goes off separate. They go their separate ways. Grogu takes on the 3 Praetorian Guards. Din is taking on Moff Gideon. I really like this part for Grogu, and it makes you wonder how much longer are they going to be able to use the puppet Grogu and then replace him with CGI. I think if they want to make moves to where Grogu's speaking or doing Yoda-like maneuvers, they're eventually going to have to move to CGI. And we saw Zeb, so we know that they can do a very good job. And I think it just needs to be done at the beginning of whatever season they want to do that. So if we have season 4 of The Mandalorian, let's just go CGI. Let's just bring it on. Because you could tell, and this is nitpicking, like, I didn't have any type of problems with it, so don't post in the comments like, oh, what are you talking about? But when he's jumping around from the Praetorian Guards, it does look like kind of weird. But it's Star Wars. We like it. We like real sets, puppets, and those type of things. So I'm definitely okay with it. But eventually, if you give Grogu a lightsaber, like if he makes up an appearance in the new Jedi Order, he's going to need to be CGI. 100%. And that's why they moved Yoda to a CGI. They knew he was going to fight Dooku. So it's like, well, can't have a puppet fighting Count Dooku now, can we? And that's how they did that. The jetpack assault. Lady Kryze, your reinforcements have arrived. I think that was the coolest line of the season because, one, the armor has now proved herself. I'm not betraying you. Not only am I not betraying you, I'm leading your reinforcements into battle. Let's do this. And then when Bo-Katan pulls out the Darksaber and they're in their flight of attack, their charge against the other Imperial Beskar troopers, Bo's right there in the front, and Armor is right beside her. And the Armor serves some street justice on a lot of those Imperials because she's knocking them out with her hammer. She's literally Thor out there, and Bo-Katan's wielding the Darksaber, and everybody's out there. And it's probably one of the coolest Star Wars scenes that we're gonna get in the Disney era. If you really use your imagination, you can see what a Mandalorian war type show or movie would be like. If you would have told me this 10 years ago that we would have a Mandalorian charged with jetpacks, I wouldn't have believed it. Anyway, and we finally got it, and it looks so good. If you freeze frame, if you go back and watch it, and you just freeze frame it, just keep pausing. There's so many good. It's top tier CGI on that. That's where they really put the money into that. Going back to the Grogu versus the Praetorian Guards, he does well. He's using the Force very well. He's not getting tired. He can use it more consistently, which is good. But he's still weaponless. All he has is the Force, which is probably good, right? Because then he can just keep training. Every time he uses the Force, it's training. He's summoning it and making it easier for him to use. If you're looking at his player card, after the battle with the Praetorians, he went up 2 points at least. So he's good there. And then you hand him a weapon, which we're going to get into what I think Grogu's weapon is going to be. He would be a very, very tough foe, even at his apprentice level, which makes you really respect how good Yoda is. There's a reason no one wants to mess with Yoda. Like, you know what I mean? He's the best duelist in the Jedi Order, and and Grogu here has nobody who's taught him. Luke probably didn't even really, because he showed him his lightsaber when Grogu wanted to leave. He didn't even get into lightsaber training. So Bo-Katan intervenes and goes over to Din to help him, and then Din goes and helps Grogu, where they have a 2-on-3. And they make pretty good work of the Praetorian Guards. No disrespect to Paz Vizsla, but you really see how good of a warrior Din is. And Of course, Grogu's still using the Force, and they make pretty good work. You would think, though, that Moff Gideon would have upgraded their armor, because that's how Din won. He just shot him in the chest with a blaster. Always keep a good blaster by your side, right, kid? Because that was their kryptonite. He just shot him in the chest. He shot one in the chest, one in the foot, and the one he shot in the foot, he also shot in the face. So eat it. Bo-Katan puts up a good fight. She had a lot of death blows against Moff Gideon, but his armor saved him. So I thought Bo won the fight, but of course the armor was just too powerful, and he was able to grab her hand with the Darksaber and then crush her hand and the Darksaber in with his propulsion. Is that the right word? Man, you can really tell I'm from Kentucky. Is that whatever? You guys know what I'm talking about. And the Darksaber's destroyed. What? Everyone on Twitter was kind of upset about this. I think it's good. With the Darksaber destroyed, so for those that don't know, the Darksaber replaced the Mandalore armor from Legends. And in Legends, the leader always had to have Mandalore's armor. So wherever it was, that's where they wanted to go, and the best warrior would get that armor, and he would lead them into whatever they needed. So if you ever played KOTOR, if you ever played Knights of the Republic 2, it was Mandalore, the Ultimate, and all that. And then when we get it to Canderous, Mandalore the Preserver. And it's even in the book Revan. They even talk about it. So they changed that to the Darksaber. And just like in Legends, it destroys the Mandalorian people. No one... Back in the Mandalorian Wars, there was thousands and thousands and thousands of Mandalorian people. But if you don't have the armor, they don't want to follow you. We're just going to be Mandalorian mercs, right? We're going to be Neo-Crusaders, whatever we want to do, but we're not going to follow anybody unless you have the armor. So Revan took it, and he hid it away. He's like, fine, you're not going to get it anymore. But because he hid it, they all knew it was hidden. So they still disbanded, because there was hope that somebody could find the armor and restore it. Now, if Revan would have destroyed the armor, then what? Well, now you have to go back to loyalty and who is the best leader and just doing it the right way, right? So Moff Gideon had a point. The Mandalorians are nothing without their trinkets. But this group of Mandalorians with Bo and the Children of the Watch, the Armorer Din, and all these, little Ragnar Vizsla, he's going to grow up into this new society where it doesn't have to be the strongest warrior is the ruler. It's going to be more, I don't want to say like democracy-like, but they're going to be more of a warrior culture and no longer need a symbol to have hope when their people are hope, right? And I think that's great. So, but we're going to pause the Darksaber talk, and we're going to talk about that at the end when we get to something else. So at the same time, Axe, who's making the ultimate sacrifice, which I always love in stories, because it is the coolest way to die. Like a warrior's death is, it's just cool. It is just cool. Like if you want to go out as a man or a woman, right? That's the way you want to go. Saving your family, saving your friends and your loved ones and other warriors, and just go out with a bang. And Axe Wolf said, you know what? I'm taking the capital ship. I'm going to drive it right into the Imperial base. Boom. Everybody's going to die. So the Mandalorians, you better get out because everybody's going to die. But at the last second, he shoots the window and he uses his jetpack. What do you know? Like in other stories, we would have been like, why didn't he just use his jetpack? Well, this time, you know what? Common sense prevails. Axe goes out the window. And it's a glorious moment. The capital ship hits, and no, I haven't seen anybody mention this. The Moff Gideon's own destruction was his own starship because they stole that from him. He literally got killed by his own starship. So eat it, bro. And then, where are we? Oh, so Grogu comes out and they're still fighting or whatever, and Grogu does a little baseball slide, and he uses the Force, and he covers up because the base is exploding, and he covers up Din and Bo in a Force shield, a la Kanan, and saves the day. He saves the day. And Moff Gideon explodes into the explosion. And people were saying, well, it's his clone, or why didn't the suit protect him? Well, the suit, just like Din's, it has weak points. It can't just be consumed by a fireball and sustain that. Eventually, it's gonna crumble. It's gonna protect his vitals and stuff, but it's gonna superheat him inside that suit. He's dead. He's dead, right? And then destroys his clones. So they literally put a stamp on this one. Like, his clones are destroyed. Moff Gideon is destroyed. There's no coming back, right? So they are fully moving forward with the Shadow Council and Project Necromancer and the Return of Thrawn, right? So Moff Gideon is chalked. He's just a villain in the TV show. He's done. So don't, everyone's saying this mustache thing. He's gone. He's gone. Trust me, he's gone. So Din adopts Grogu, and instead of calling him Grogu Djarin, he's called Din Grogu. Kind of weird. I guess this is my second complaint of the show. I think Grogu Djarin sounds better, but whatever. We got Din Grogu, and I think it's cool. And I don't mind it. It is, we already knew he was his adopted kid. We didn't need it in paperwork. We didn't have to go down to and get it notarized from a notary, right? We already knew. They've been saying it all season. Go get your kid. Go get your kid. So to make it official, I thought it was kind of weird, right? Just let the kid become an apprentice. Like, why do you? I mean, I know he doesn't speak, but he's killed a lot more people than Ragnar has, right? And Ragnar becomes an apprentice in the same episode. So, Ragnar, check your kill list, bro. The Great Forge is back. Bo-Katan lights it, and the Armorer has her forge back, right? She was operating on a makeshift forge for years, and she created Din's armor. What do you think she's going to do with the Great Forge? I hope that she doesn't create Bo-Katan's new armor, and then they just replace the Darksaber with Mandalore, the Uniter, which is what I'm calling Bo, because that'll defeat it. But if she needs new armor, their armorer is going to make it, and I think it's going to be cool. I honestly think that she's going to make some Basilisk war droids, which is in the Mandalorian Wars. I think the armor is going to have a field day once they start being able to get the forge going, and they're mining Beskar again. She's going to make a lot of cool things. I would not be surprised if the armor comes out with like new gear for everybody eventually, especially Grogu. He's going to get his helmet before the end of before there's a movie or the end of season 4. Grogu's next, because he gets a new piece of armor. Din or Grogu gets a new piece of armor every show. So the next thing is a helmet for Grogu, and the armor is going to do it with the Great Forge. We see the Mythosaur again. Not as climatic as the last time we saw it, but we know he's there. It wasn't just a vision. So after all this, the Armorer gives Din another side mission. We're literally watching a video game. Here, campaign's over, but you have side missions to complete, so go do it. She says basically you have to show him your way, right? We're Mandalorians from Mandalore and Concordia. You have always taken up the bounty hunter route, so go show him how to be a bounty hunter, right? That's his trade, right? The Armorer forges metal. Din brings in bounties, right? Paz Vizsla is a warrior. He fights in battles, right? He's a mercenary for hire. And he would have showed Ragnar how to fight in wars, right? So it's only acceptable for Din to go show Grogu how to bounty hunt. And Din says, okay, but I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to go to the New Republic, and I'm going to have them issue me bounties for Imperials. So what Imperials could he be looking for? I think everybody on the Shadow Council is up for grabs, right? And eventually he's going to get the name of Thrawn. Paleon's not going to be up for grabs, but he's going to get other people. Everybody that was on there. There's a female There was like one pirate, overweight looking dude who really didn't have a officer's uniform, but he's going to go after them and he's going to get the name somehow of Thrawn. I've been reading Heir of the Empire, which we're going to cover next episode. Thrawn's name is never mentioned outside of Imperial's point of view. So Luke, Han, Leia, nobody knows Thrawn's name. Not even at the end of the book. They're like, what's his name? And they just know he's a Grand Admiral. So Din's going to be the one to extract Thrawn's name and give it over to the New Republic. I also have a few other choices of what Din could do, but that's in a video I would like you to just watch and check out. But the Shadow Council, you're on notice. Din's defeated one of you. He's coming after the rest of you. Something cool in the Adelphi Squadron's cantina is there's a Stormtrooper helmet with 3 markings on its helmet. It looks like claw marks. And I just think it looks like Operation Blackwing. If you don't know what Operation Blackwing is, it is Star Wars take of a zombie apocalypse. And basically it's like an Imperial Star Destroyer. They have a science lab on it. And I think it's an Imperial Star Destroyer. Anyways, it's a base. It's a Star Wars base. An Imperial base, sorry. And the science experiment goes wrong and all the stormtroopers turn into zombies, right? So if you haven't, it's a good book. You should check it out. If you just Google Star Wars Zombies book, it'll pop up right in Google and you can buy it probably for like 10 or 12 bucks on Amazon. And it's a fun book. It's a short read, but it gets the job done if you like horror and you're a Star Wars fan. So check it out. But it would be cool if they brought that into like a Halloween what if, kind of like how they do a Christmas holiday special. I think we've covered the whole show. Now I want to get into the last part that we're going to go back to the Darksaber's destruction. So what happens with it? So there's a few options. One, the armor just reforges it, right? And she gives it back to Bo. I think that is not the route they should take. I like the destruction of the saber. Now, one of my theory videos that I just posted in the last week is Grogu has Yoda's lightsaber, right? So in canon lore, Yoda is obviously Dooku's master, right? And they're really good friends. When Dooku decides to leave the Order, he hands Yoda his lightsaber, and he says, "I think you're going to be wanting this back, right? Like, I'm turning in my Jedi status right here." And Yoda says, "No, you keep it," because basically Yoda tells him like it's not a lightsaber is not just a Jedi's weapon. Like you will use it, and you're going to need it for other things that you might have to do. At this time, Yoda does not sense the dark side in Dooku. He doesn't know his dark history, and he really has faith in his former apprentice. Basically, keep the lightsaber because you're going to be able to use it for good eventually. And so with that, with Luke telling Grogu, you have a choice. The armor or the lightsaber. I really think because Grogu picked the armor, before he left, he says, "Hey," and he tells him the same thing. Basically, like, I know you're not choosing the path of the Jedi, but this lightsaber is meant for you. So I do personally believe that he gave Yoda's lightsaber to Grogu, and Grogu hasn't revealed that to Din, or he's keeping it in hiding. So with that, the only other option for Grogu to have a lightsaber is not to reforge the Darksaber, but to simply make a new lightsaber and take the Darksaber's crystal out and put it in his new lightsaber. So he would have a mini lightsaber with a dark crystal. And I think that'd be cool too. I'm kind of torn on this. I like the fact that he would have Yoda's lightsaber in green, which would be really, really cool. But a short version, the same version style lightsaber, but with the Darksaber's crystal, would have so much more meaning for his Mandalorian heritage, right? So I think I'm going to go with that one. I'd rather him have the Darksaber crystal Hell, you could even take the crystal out of Yoda's lightsaber and put the Darksaber crystal. There you go. Then I can have both of my theories come true. There we go. Nice. I like this. This is good talk, everybody. But with that, we're at the 25-minute mark. Man, these really go long. I thought these were going to be like 15 to 25 minutes, but so next week we're going to cover, I finished it. I finished my reread. I've read it before. We're going to talk about all things Heir to the Empire and how that might play into the Ahsoka series. So that'll be episode 5. We're going to debut that next week. Other than that, guys and girls, may the Force be with you always.